donkey in the lion's skin. Once, a donkey was wandering in the forest. He found a lion's skin left by a hunter. He dressed himself in it and pretended to be the lion. All the animals mistook him for the lion. They started running away in terror. The donkey was so pleased that he uttered a loud, harsh bray in excitement. A fox, who ran with the rest, stopped after hearing the voice. He approached the donkey and said, "If only you didn't bray, you would have frightened me too." The donkey dropped the lion's skin on the ground. He walked away with his head hanging in shame. Moral: clothes may disguise a fool, but his words will give him away. The cat. Once upon a time, the mice had a meeting to figure out how to deal with their common enemy, the cat. Some said this, and some said that. Many ideas were discussed, but the mice could not find a solution. At last, a young mouse spoke. "I have a plan. All we need to do is put a bell around the cat's neck. The bell will ring whenever the cat moves, and we will be able to run away before she comes." All the mice were surprised upon hearing the plan of the young mouse and started celebrating. Then an old mouse rose and said, "The plan sounds very good, but tell me one thing. Who will bell the cat?" The mice looked at one another in fear. Nobody had an answer. Moral of the story: it is easy to propose impossible remedies. The Gnat and the Bull. A little gnat flew over a meadow. After flying around for a while, the gnat got tired. He settled on one of the horns of a bull. After some time, the gnat got ready to fly away. Before flying, he said to the bull, "Pardon me for resting on your horn. You must be glad to have me go now."
"You think too highly of yourself,"
said the bull.
"I did not even know you were there."
"Oh, my apologies," said the gnat and flew off. Moral: one should not place self-importance before courtesy. The Peacock and the Crane. There was a peacock who often boasted about his beauty. "I've got the most beautiful tail," he would say. Once he walked to the banks of a large lake and saw a crane sipping water. "Look, what a colorless bird you are," remarked the peacock. "Your wings can never match my glory." "But my colorless wings can make me fly," replied the crane. He spread his broad wings and flew up towards the sun. The peacock stood where he was in wonder. Moral: usefulness is more important than beauty. The Bear and the Travelers. Two friends were walking through a forest. They promised to stay together throughout the way. Suddenly, they heard a sound in the bushes. Something was approaching them. It was a huge bear. Both of them got scared. One of them, thinking of his own safety, climbed a tree. The other friend did not know how to climb a tree. He threw himself on the ground and lay still while holding his breath. He had heard that bears don't prey on dead people. The bear came near the man lying on the ground. He sniffed his ears and slowly walked away. The man on the tree came down. He jokingly asked his friend,
"What did the bear whisper in your ears?"
The other friend replied,
"The bear told me to never trust someone who deserts you in need."
Moral of the story? A friend in need is a friend indeed. The Bear and the Bees. A hungry bear was roaming in the forest looking for food. He came across a beehive. The bear peered inside the beehive, hoping to find some honey. On seeing the bear, a bee flew out and stung him sharply. The bear lost his temper. He knocked the beehive and started destroying it. As the beehive broke, a lot of bees flew out and stung the bear. The bear ran as fast as he could to the nearest pond. He jumped quickly in the water to save himself. Moral of the story? Too much anger is never good. The Boy Who Cried Wolf. A shepherd boy was watching his flock of sheep. He felt really bored, so he thought of amusing himself. He stood up and started shouting, "Wolf! Wolf!" to attract the attention of people in the village. The villagers came running to help him, but they saw no wolf, just the boy laughing at them. The villagers were angry. The boy repeated this again the next day. The people again came, but there was no wolf. They angrily said, "Foolish boy, when there is actually a wolf, no one will believe you." One day, the boy was resting. Suddenly, he saw a wolf approaching the sheep. The boy shouted, "Wolf! Wolf!" But people in the village thought that the boy was lying as usual. Later, when the boy didn't come back, the villagers came looking for him. The boy was weeping. "Why didn't you come? The wolf came and ate my sheep." The villagers comforted him and said, "Let this be a lesson to you. You must never lie." Moral of the story? Nobody believes a liar, even when he is telling the truth. The Bundle of Sticks. A farmer had 4 sons. The 4 sons were hard workers, but always quarreled among themselves. One day, the farmer got really sick. He wanted his sons to share the farm and work together, but knew that his sons would continue to fight. The farmer decided to teach them a lesson. He called his 4 sons. He gave each son a stick and asked them to break it. Each son easily broke the stick. Now the farmer gave each son a bundle of sticks and asked him to break it. Each tried his best but couldn't break the bundle. The farmer said, "Just like these sticks, if you are united, nobody will be able to harm you. But if you quarrel all the time, anyone can easily break you." The sons realized their mistake and started working happily together. Moral of the story? there is strength in unity.
Cat and the Fox. Once, a cat and a fox got into an argument about who was more clever. "I know so many tricks to save myself from a predator." "How many do you know?" asked the fox.
"I know just one trick, but that one trick is enough," replied the cat.
And then they saw a pack of hounds fast approaching them. The cat quickly climbed up a tree, hiding behind the leaves.
"This is my trick," called the cat. "Now let me see yours."
The fox had so many plans to escape, but he could not decide which one to try first. In the end, the hounds caught him. Moral: one thing done properly is better than many things done poorly.
The Cat Maiden. Two fairies were debating if it was possible for a living being to change its nature. One said yes, but the other said no. To settle the dispute, the first fairy turned a cat into a maiden with her wand. She said to the second fairy, "Now let's see what happens." The fairy got the cat maiden married to a young man. After the wedding, the couple sat down for the wedding feast. "See how well she is behaving? Who could tell that yesterday she was but a cat? Surely her nature has changed," the first fairy said to the second. "Wait a minute," replied the second fairy. She let loose a mouse into the room with the flick of her wand. As soon as the bride saw this, she jumped up from her seat and started chasing the mouse. The second fairy smiled at the first and said, "See, I told you." Moral: the true nature of a person doesn't change. Crow and the Peacocks. There was a crow who did not like his feathers. "I wish I were a peacock," he would say. "You are beautiful as you are," the other crows insisted. But he paid no attention and flew off to admire the peacocks. He saw the peacocks dancing around, flaunting their colorful tail feathers. The crow saw some peacock feathers lying on the ground. He quickly flew down and stuck those feathers on his tail. "Now I am as beautiful as a peacock," said the crow, and went to dance with the peacocks. The peacocks told him angrily, "You are not a peacock," they said. "Go away." The sad crow came back home. As he sat down alone, the other crows said, "Learn to love yourself as you are." Moral of the story: you are beautiful as you are. The Hare and the Tortoise. Once upon a time, a tortoise was walking on the road. A hare saw him and started laughing loudly. "Ha ha ha, look at you! You are so slow." The tortoise got angry and challenged the hare to a race. The hare immediately agreed, saying, "Why not? I'm faster than you. I can beat you anytime."
On the day of the race, the hare and the tortoise arrived at the starting line. The tiger waved the flag to signal the beginning of the race. The hare ran very fast, while the tortoise slowly followed behind. The hare was quite ahead of the tortoise in no time at all. He saw that the tortoise was walking slowly far behind him. The hare was so sure about winning the race that he decided to take a little nap under the tree. While the hare was dreaming, the tortoise continued walking slowly and went ahead of the hare. The hare woke up from his nap and saw the tortoise reaching the finish line. He started running, but it was too late. He couldn't reach there before the tortoise. The tortoise won the race. The hare started crying because he had lost the race to the slow tortoise. Moral of the story? Slow and steady wins the race.
The Honest Woodcutter. A poor woodcutter was cutting a tree near a lake. His axe slipped from his hands and fell in the water. He couldn't get his axe back, so he started crying. A water spirit appeared from the lake and asked the woodcutter about his problem. The woodcutter told him about his axe. The spirit went inside the lake and came up with a golden axe. "Is this your axe?" he asked. The woodcutter replied, "No, it isn't." He dived again and came out with a silver axe. "Is this your axe?" he asked. The woodcutter replied, "No, it is not mine." The water spirit again went inside and came out with the woodcutter's iron axe. The woodcutter was really happy to see his own axe. "Yes, this is my axe," he said. The spirit was very pleased with the woodcutter's honesty. He gave the woodcutter all 3 axes as a reward. The woodcutter returned home and told his neighbors about what had happened. One of them was greedy and wanted the gold and silver axes. The next day, the greedy neighbor went to the same lake and threw his axe in the lake. The water spirit appeared from the lake holding a golden axe. He asked the man whether that axe was his. The woodcutter couldn't control his greed and said, "Yes, this is my axe." The spirit knew he was lying. He took the golden axe and vanished inside the water. The greedy man lost his only axe. He had learned his lesson. Moral of the story: honesty is the best policy.
Once upon a time, Mummy Pig and her 3 little pigs lived in a house in the woods. Mummy Pig did not have enough money to look after the 3 little pigs. Mummy Pig told the 3 little pigs that they would have to leave her and make their own fortune. The next day, the 3 little pigs left and went into the woods. They did not see a big bad wolf watching them from behind a tree. The wolf was hungry and wanted to eat the 3 little pigs. The 3 little pigs met a man with some straw. The first little pig asked the man if he could have some straw to build his house with. The man said he could and gave him some straw. The first little pig made a house from the straw. He was very happy with his straw house. The other 2 little pigs waved goodbye and carried on through the woods. The first little pig went into his straw house. A little ahead, the 2 little pigs met a man carrying sticks. The second little pig asked the man if he could have some sticks to build his house with. The man said he could and gave him some sticks. The second little pig made a house from the sticks. He was very happy with his house made from sticks. The third little pig waved goodbye and carried on through the woods. The second little pig went into his house made from sticks. The third little pig met a man pushing a wheelbarrow filled with bricks. He asked the man if he could have some bricks to build his house with. The man said he could and gave him some bricks. The third little pig worked very hard and made his house from bricks. He was very happy with his house made from bricks. He wanted his house to be stronger than the other 2. The big bad wolf went to the first little pig's house. He looked in the window and saw the first little pig. The wolf knocked on the door. The wolf asked if he could come in, but the first little pig would not let the wolf come inside. The big bad wolf huffed and puffed. He blew the house made from straw away. The first little pig ran to the second little pig's house. The big bad wolf went to the second little pig's stick house. He looked inside and saw the 2 little pigs. He knocked on the door and asked if he could come in. The 2 little pigs would not let him come inside. The big bad wolf huffed and puffed. He blew the house made from sticks away. The 2 little pigs ran to the third little pig's house. The big bad wolf went to the third little pig's house. He looked in the window and knocked on the door. The 3 little pigs were all in the house together. The big bad wolf asked if he could come in, but the 3 little pigs would not let him come inside. The big bad wolf huffed and puffed, but he could not blow the house made from bricks away. The brick house was too strong for the wolf. The big bad wolf carried a ladder to the house. He was going to climb down the chimney and into the house that way. The big bad wolf climbed up the ladder and onto the roof. He was very happy that he would eat the 3 pigs today. The big bad wolf jumped down the chimney. He landed in a pot of boiling water. The 3 little pigs had put the pot on the fire underneath the chimney. The big bad wolf was burnt badly. He jumped out of the pot and ran out of the house. The 3 little pigs were very happy. They did not have to fear the wolf anymore. They lived happily ever after. Once upon a time, on a farm next to a pond, Mother Duck was sitting on her nest on her eggs. It was a summer's day. Slowly, one by one, her eggs all cracked open. The ducklings all said, "Quack, quack," but one egg did not hatch. Grandfather Duck heard all the quacking and went to see Mother Duck. Mother Duck told him about the egg that had not hatched. Grandfather Duck thought the egg looked like a turkey's egg because it was so big. After a few days of waiting, the big egg hatched. Mother Duck could see that the duckling was not the same as the others. It was bigger, white, and ugly. Mother Duck was sure that the duckling would change and become like the others. Mother Duck and the ducklings went swimming in the pond. The ugly duckling could swim much better than the others could. Mother Duck was very happy about this. After their swim, Mother Duck took the ducklings to the farmyard to play. The farm animals saw the ugly duckling and were very mean to him. They told him he looked ugly and that he did not look like the other ducklings. The ugly duckling became very sad. Mother Duck was not happy with the other animals and told them to leave the ugly duckling alone. Mother Duck told them how well the ugly duckling swam and how she thought he would look like the other ducklings in a few days. The days went by and nobody listened to Mother Duck. The farm animals still made fun of the ugly duckling. The other ducklings were also mean to him and would not play with him. The ugly duckling felt very sad. He did not want to be at the farm anymore. One night he ran away. He went a long, long way and fell asleep in a muddy marsh. The next morning, the ugly duckling woke to see some of the wild ducks looking at him. He asked them if he could stay with them. They told him that he was ugly, so he could not stay with them and had to go. The ugly duckling was very sad. Nobody was ready to be his friend because he was so ugly. It started to rain, so the ugly duckling found a place to stay dry. He took shelter under the porch of an old house. The next day, the house door opened and a big dog came outside. The dog barked at the ugly duckling and the duckling had to run away very quickly. The days went by and winter came. The ugly duckling was very cold. He lived alone near a pond and made his home in the long grass. It was a long winter. Finally, spring came with sunny days. One day on the pond, the ugly duckling saw 3 beautiful white swans swimming. The ugly duckling knew that they would not want him as a friend because he was too ugly. The 3 swans saw the ugly duckling and swam over to him. They said, "Hello, new swan." The ugly duckling asked them why they called him a swan when he was a duck. The swans told him that he was not a duck and to look at his reflection in the water. The ugly duckling was very happy with his reflection in the water. He was not an ugly duckling anymore. He was a handsome white swan. The 3 swans were happy to be his friends, and they all swam in the pond. The 4 swans flew up in the sky. The ugly duckling was a very handsome white swan. He was very happy. The children on the ground clapped as the swans flew above them.
Once upon a time, there lived a beautiful girl named Cinderella. She lived with her mean stepmother and her 2 cruel stepsisters. One day, the stepsisters received an invitation for a ball at the royal palace. "What a shame maids aren't invited too," jeered the stepsisters. As soon as her stepsisters left, Cinderella cried her heart out. She wanted to go to the ball. Suddenly, she heard a voice from the back. "I'm your fairy godmother. I will fulfill your wish." The fairy godmother magically transformed Cinderella and her friends. She told Cinderella to return before midnight. As soon as the handsome prince saw Cinderella, he was instantly enchanted. They both danced together. The clock struck 12, and Cinderella immediately ran out of the palace. She panicked and lost a glass slipper in the palace. The puzzled prince chased after her, but only found the slipper. The love-struck prince went from house to house, making every girl try on the slipper. Soon, he reached the stepsister's house. They snatched the slipper from him and tried it on their feet in vain. Then the prince asked Cinderella to try on the slipper. Her dainty foot was a perfect fit. The prince gasped in delight. The prince took Cinderella back to his palace. They got married and lived happily ever after.